So hello friends, welcome again to my YouTube channel, and today we are going to solve a new question from our top and review 150 question series. And today's question title is merge intervals. So let's understand this question. So here we have been given an array of intervals where intervals I is equals to a start index and the end index. We have to merge all the overlapping intervals and return an array of the non-overlapping intervals that covers all the intervals in the input. So what it has given is that we have been given an array of intervals where we have intervals in our each position. In the first you can see we have 1 and 3. This 1 and 3 are denoting the starting index and the end index of the interval. So what we need to do is that we need to find the overlapping intervals and we have to merge them such that there is no overlapping interval in this interval array, and we have to return that. So let's understand this question and find a solution to it. So here you can see that I have taken example from our question, and this example you can see that we have different intervals. So let's first draw these intervals. So I'm drawing this. So here we have our number line. Here we have 1, and here we have 3, and we have a first interval between 1 to 3. Again you can see that we have 2 to 6 interval. So let's assume we have 2 here and 6 here. So we have again one interval which is from 2 to 6. Next we have 8 to 10. So let's assume here we have 8 and here we have 10. So our next interval is between 8 to 10. Next we have from 15 to 18. So we can take one 15 here and 18 here. So we have another interval which is between 15 to 18. So this is the overall intervals which we have in this our example. And here you can see that all the intervals are apart from each other, but the first two are overlapping. So what we need to do is that we need to merge these two intervals and make them a one interval. So what will happen that the two intervals which is 1 to 3 and 2 to 6 is going to be 1 to 6. After that we have our 8 to 10 which we have no overlapping, and at last we have our 15 to 18. So this is the output which has been required by our question. So this is what we have to do. We have to find all the overlapping and we have to remove it. Now let's understand how we'll do this. What we will do is that we will store the index from our first. That means we will store the index from our first interval which is 1 to 3 as a start index and end index. And our start is going to be 1 and end is going to be 3. Now we will start traversing in this interval, and at every position what we will do, we will check. And what we need to check is that again let's draw the overlapping which we have 1 2 3, and here we have a range from 1 to 3. Again we have from 2 to 6. So how you can say that there is overlapping? So there is one condition which is determining that if overlapping happens or not. So the one condition which is going to do us is that what it is going to do is that if you find that the end index is greater than the starting index of the next interval. So here you can see that you have taken your start index as 1 and end index is your 3. And what happens is that when you traverse to the next interval, you get to know that again the start index we can take s1 is here too. And you can see that our end index and start index, in this start and end index we have a start index less and our end index is higher which we have taken. That means there is overlapping. That means the next interval which must come next to our previous interval is now in between, or it is classing from the previous one. So by using this condition, by checking this condition that our next start index is less than the present or current end index, we can simply see that in our interval lies or not. If the overlapping occurs, then we will what we will do, we will change our end index. That means we will move our end index to the next index which is next interval end index. That means now our end index changed from 3 to 6. And what we will do is that your start index is going to be same, but your end index is now changed to 6. And so for this we need to consider one situation, that it may happen that this interval is going to be not sorted. That means this start index maybe lies beyond this. That means maybe it will be here. So in this case the start index is going to be different. So to handle the situation, what we will do is that we will first sort this interval. By sorting this, what will happen, it will simply ensure that your start index is going to be minimum in every case. That means when you start traversing, your start index is going to be minimum for the next interval. That means now the interval is going to be from 0 to 6, Now next what you will get 1 2 3. So this is the order which is going to be if we sort this case. By sorting this, what will happen? We do not need to check another condition. That means we not need to concern about the starting index. By only checking the end index of the previous and the start index of the next, the end index of previous and the start index of the next, we can simply ensure that overlapping is happening or not. So this is the approach which we can follow. And in this approach, what we will do every time we get the situation, so what we'll simply do is that we can simply maximum, we can take the maximum value. So because we can have the situation also, so because of this we can take the maximum of both the two end index. So by doing so, you will ensure that if this condition arises, it is automatically going to save the maximum. So by doing this, what you will do, you will simply merge all the overlapping and you will get an answer. Now let's try to code this. So as discussed, what we do is that we will first sort our intervals, which is our array. So we will do that. So we will write sort intervals dot begin, comma intervals dot end. So let's we have sorted this. Now let's take a vector end to store our output. Let's take it as the answer. Now next what need to do is that we need to traverse in our intervals. So let's traverse this. So we'll write for and I equals to 0, I less than intervals dot size I plus plus. So as we have discussed that what we are doing is that we are taking the previous one. So we can do that same. That means we can take start as equals to intervals 0 comma 0, and next we can take end as equals to intervals 0 comma 1. Now after this we will start our traverse from the first index because we've already taken the first index for our reference. Now from the second interval what we have, that we will check that if our interval's first index, that means the start index of our current interval, so how we'll get that? We will get that by interval I comma 0. So if the start index is less than or equals to, if the start index is less than equals to our end, that means if this value is less than our end of this, then we can say that our overlapping has happened. Now in this case what we have to do is that we have to simply update our end index. And how we get updating this? We are updating it by equals to max. Because why we are taking max? Because there may be a condition where this starting index is going to be so much greater than this one. So in this case we will lose our range. So to ensure that we get all the range perfectly, we are taking max. We will take e comma and which index, which is going to be our intervals I comma. Now let's take the else part. Now what happens if it is not? So simply what we can do is that we can insert it. So if you came to this index, let's assume you have previously we have found the intervals and you have updated your end index. Now your start index is at 1 and your end index is at 6. Now when you are at this, you will again check if that is interval or not, and here you can simply see that your start index is greater than your previously saved end, so there is no overlapping. So what we need to do is that we need to save it in our vector, which is this our answer. So we can write ans dot prospect, which value we have to store. We have to store s comma e. So we are storing s start comma end. Now again what we can do is that now we are at the this index. So for this we are updating our start and end. So we can write a start is equals to I comma 0, and similarly we have our end is equals to I comma 1. So now we have updated this. Now the or loop is going to be traversed through whole our intervals. Now what will happen that when you are at the last index, what it will do, it will check, and if there is a if the you it if it's find that there is a interval, then it will update your e, and if it's find that there is no interval, then again what will do, it will update till the previous one, and it will update your start and end index to the current, which is this last. So we are left with the this, that means the last interval is left. So after completion of this for loop, what you can do, you can simply again push your start and end index, which is currently saved in your variables. So we will ensure that all the intervals has been pushed. Now we will return our answer. Now let's try to run this code. So here we have missed our s in this interval, so let's update this. And here in 11 also we have missed s. So let's see, we have not missed again. Now let's try to run again. So this is accepted. Now let's submit this code. So this question is accepted. So this is an interesting question. Here we have seen the question based on interval, how we can manage and see how interval is going to be solved in interval based questions. Now you are going to see the solution for Java and Python in the same video. So keep tuned and let's meet in the next video. Till then, keep learning and exploring. Thank you all.